Hey, I'm Jonathan Sewell Sales at Mitchell Mazda on the Boulevard in Enterprise. And you can see behind me, I've got three fantastic crossovers. Starting on your right to left, the CX-30, the CX-50, and the CX-5. And we're gonna compare exterior dimensions, interior space, and cargo volume, and see which size is right for you. So let's jump in.
More car vids. More car vids.
Before we get started here, just a full disclosure. On the end is a 2021 CX-30, which is out of our loaner fleet. So this is a preferred model. Of course, the first CX-50 we received is a Turbo Premium Plus and, well, 23 model, and a 22 CX-5 Premium Plus. So we're gonna compare the sizes outside, inside, and see if there's a difference, number one, and number two, which one would be best for you. So first, what I wanna get started with is I've tried to line these up from the rear so you can see, just to give a visual difference, they're basically all lined up. So you can see all three bumpers there. So one end of the bumper. And as we head back up, of course, the CX-50 is the longest. And you can see down there, the CX-30 is the shortest. So starting here closest to me, the CX-5, its length is 180.1 inches. Moving to the CX-50, it's 185.8, so almost 6 inches longer. And the little guy, the CX-30, is 173 inches, so about 7 inches less than the CX-5 and almost a foot longer, or shorter, excuse me, than the CX-50. Now let's talk about width. The CX-30 and the CX-50 share the same platform, but you can tell that the width is different. So we're looking at the CX-30 here with its width of 70.7 inches. I'm not sure if that's with the mirrors out or excluding the mirrors, but I believe that we can tell just a difference here by looking at them. The CX-50 with the mirrors out, measuring from the ends of the mirrors, is 80.8. And then as we go to the CX-5 with the mirrors out, it is 83.3. So you can tell that the actual width of the CX-5 with those mirrors out is wider than the CX-50, and we'll try to line these up a little bit different in just a moment so we can see those differences. The last that I want to talk about, of course, is the height. Now we know that the CX-30 is going to be the lowest, and again, when you compare this CX-30 to the CX-50, that's really, you know, the ones that are going to be closest or the biggest difference between each other because of how they're designed. But the CX-30's height is 61.7 inches. 61.7. The CX-50 height to the top of that shark fin antenna, which is the highest point on the CX-50, it is 63.9. And then, as we know, the highest point on this car is its shark fin antenna. I'm gonna change sides here. And you can see that it is taller than the CX-50, which we know coming into this. So the CX-5 height is 66.1. So almost 2 inches difference from shark fin to shark fin. And if you deduct the shark fin, which is about 2 inches, it's still about 2 inches less, depending on if you kind of count the roof rails. And this one, of course, doesn't have the roof rails. So with the roof rails would make a difference. And the purpose for this height difference, of course, as Mazda has said, is for the roof loading. So you can see the designs of the roof kind of sloping back on all three of these. The CX-30 and CX-5 have more of a similar slope, and this one really comes down without the kind of the rounded look as much, as more of a flat roof line. And that is for the loading, the platforms, the tent, all of those things, accessories that are available from Mazda for the recreation or outdoors. Now let's talk about the wheelbase, because that has to do with the ride a little bit. So the wheelbase of the CX-30 is 104.4. The wheelbase of the CX-50 is 110.8. So again, that's from the center of the wheel to the center of the rear wheel. So almost 6 or a little over 6 inches longer in wheelbase for a more off-road and capable ride. And the CX-5 is 106.2. So almost 2 inches longer than the CX-30, and about 4 inches long or shorter than the CX-50. So some attributes of the CX-50 are larger, even though if you would just scan these, it would be noticeably noticeable in size. The CX-30 is the smallest, CX-5 looks to be second, and CX-50 looks to be next, or the biggest vehicle that we have. But it really just depends. So let's jump inside. Okay, jumping back here in the back, and you can see that this one's been to the beach. We want to compare these, the cargo values here. So the CX-30 with these seats up is 20.2 cubic feet back here. And if you folded those seats down, which of course is a 60-40 split, and that seat's too far back, but it would be 45.2 with both of those seats down. So 45.2 cubic feet. As we go to the CX-50, the appearance, of course, is that there's a lot of cargo space. Again, hauling my trusty travel tripod there. And with these seats up, the CX-50 has 31.4 cubic feet. And of course, a lot of that has to do with these flat walls. And then, of course, if you fold those seats down, both of them, fold both seats down, that would be 56.3. So 56.3 cubic feet compared to the CX-30 at 45.2. And let's see how we compare to the CX-5. So with the second row seats up, the CX-5 is 30.8. So very, very close, just a little bit smaller than the CX-50. And of course, with that lower roof line, it kind of hurts the CX-50 a little bit. And then when you fold these seats down, if it folded all the way and both seats were all the way down, it'd be 59.3. So the CX-5 is our winner, which probably has to do, of course, with that roof height, as we were talking about before. So 59.3 on the CX-5 total rear cargo, 56.3 on the CX-50, and 45.2 on the CX-30. In the CX-30 front seat, I have it all the way back just to show you how much room there is, and I've got plenty of room. Maybe would even slide it up some and be more comfortable there. Of course, I also have the seat up, and I'm not touching the roof just yet, but I would not ride at that height. So this is about where I would ride at, and I have plenty of headroom and plenty of room here. But let's check out the back seat. And to show you the rear space, my knees are touching here with this seat all the way back, and somewhat, not of course straight up and down, but not too far away from 90 degrees. And of course I can tuck my feet underneath, but then all of my legs are touching the seat here. So not much room at all in the CX-30 back seat. And on the CX-50, this is a comfortable seating position for me. I'm all the way down, oh, maybe not, all the way down now. I have really good headroom. I would probably could ride up just a little bit more to get more support under my knees there. and just a little bit different. This is a good situation here, and I have plenty of room. So really good room up front. And let's set this all the way back to see how it is in the back seat. So in the back seat, the seat is all the way back. The recline was comfortable position for me, and I have about an inch, just an inch, maybe under an inch, depending on if I slouch or if I'm sitting up. And my knees are touching just a little bit when I'm leaned all the way back and pushing my knees out. Also, I have what appears to be about an inch of room up top in the rear. And again, I'm 5'10" with an extra inch on top with my hair. But I could be comfortable here. Of course, this is with the seat all the way back, and if I was driving, the seat wouldn't be this far back. So just depends. So in the CX-5, this is probably how I'd be comfortable. Of course, I usually ride with my seat a little further back than most people, but here's where I'd be comfortable at. And plenty of room up top here. I got about, counting from my hair, I've got about 2 or 3 inches, so plenty of room. And again, I feel like the CX-50 is a little bit more wider as far as room. So, especially since the door's not here. But let's bring this seat all the way back and see how it compares to the back seat. Okay, so I have the seat all the way back, and I left the seat back up to the position that I had it at. However, you can see that it's definitely, my knees have nowhere to go, and this would not be comfortable for me. Again, most people would not ride with that seat all the way back. And if I could get this seat back up just a little bit, this is probably similar to what it was on the CX-30, and I have about the same amount of room on the CX-30 and close to the same amount of room on the CX-50. Of course, I can let my knees sag outside or go inside of the seat and have more room, but I'm right on this seam on how these are designed, and it's touching with more pressure than on the CX-50 would be. As far as the rear room here, I've got over my hair, I've got about good 2 inches, so definitely a lot more room than the CX-50. The CX-30 had pretty decent room because of how it was shaped, and this one, as the moonroof kind of goes up just like the CX-30, so definitely having that panoramic roof and that lower roof line does cramp the rear passengers a little bit in the CX-50. Thank you for joining me for this quick comparison of the CX-30, the CX-50, and the CX-5. It's pretty close. Of course, we have the CX-5 with the highest and most cargo space, the CX-50 with probably the most long and wide room in the front seat, and the CX-30 unfortunately didn't really win in any category. Of course, it's a comfortable vehicle as well, but it's not designed to be on the same size as the CX-5 and the CX-50. So hopefully this helped you narrow down the differences between these 3 crossovers. I am Jonathan Sewell Sales at Mitchell Mazda on the Boulevard in Enterprise. And if you'd like any more information on any of these crossovers, just drop a comment down below, or you can text me at 334-718-0504. Again, I am Jonathan Sewell Sales at Mitchell Mazda, and I really can't wait to see you in one of these beautiful Mazda crossovers.